Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. That was Proverbs 16, verse 3.
Hey guys, today you can see we are in the UBT studio with Robbie Purser. What an honor to be here. Hey, if you don't know who UBT Media is, you got to be watching the C10 coverage.
Well, if you're a truck guy, you got
to know if you're a C10 guy. So we're sure that a lot of you guys know UBT Media. You know the Keepin It Classic podcast. It's been out for, well, they just had a name change.
Yeah.
And GassinSupply company's all new, but you got to know where it all started, and that is United by Trucks.
Yep.
And it's so awesome to be here with Robbie and him allowing us to use his studio to do our podcast.
Look at our nice equipment, man. We got this is our stuff now.
I know. I'm spoiling y'all a little bit.
Yeah.
No, this is an honor for me to be here. Thanks for doing this.
Well, we appreciate you inviting us down. So
yes.
You and I met at C10 Fall Revival.
Yep.
And I felt like we kind of hit it off right there.
Sure.
You know, we had a long conversation. And then in the end of that conversation, you invited us down, and we're here doing this today. We are actually just on your podcast.
That's right. We just
which was awesome.
Finished filming your episode on the Keepin It Classic podcast, and now we're sort of switching sides here.
And it's so cool to like be interviewed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh,
like I feel like we interview everybody, and like this is your podcast is now the second one we've been interviewed on in this month. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It feels
It's
so
pretty
weird.
wild.
You know?
It is fun to switch sides.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for me. I just mentioned this off camera, but I'm sitting in the chair where I'm normally interviewing somebody, and it is different. This is the first time I've ever been interviewed in this space. I mean, we've even got Sarah here who's producing this thing.
Which is awesome. So, hey, we actually got a producer.
I know. See?
So
something goes wrong, it's her fault.
Don't get used to this great quality. This is a one-time thing.
Yeah.
I hear you guys might be stepping it up a little bit, though.
We're working on
we're
that.
Getting there.
We're working on that.
You know, we got a lot of plans for 2026. We'll see if that one kind of can fall into place.
Yeah, I love it.
But it is very cool to be here, and it's cool for us to have this opportunity. But Robbie, for a lot of people who don't know who you are, can you give us a bird's eye view of what UBT is?
Yeah. So UBT stands for United by Trucks. It's a classic truck lifestyle brand is what I like to call it, but it originally started as a YouTube channel. So back in 2018, the end of 2018, I actually started the channel. It was called Whitlock Garage at the time. Whitlock is not my last name like most people thought it was originally. It's the area that me and my wife and our family live in.
Let's say we learned that yesterday.
Yeah.
We saw a street called Whitlock Street.
Yeah, that's right. That's why.
And
the area
that must be where the name comes from.
Yeah, the area that we live in is called Whitlock Heights. I remember early on at shows when the channel really started taking off, people would run around calling me Mr. Whitlock, trying to get my attention. So I'm like, my last name's not Whitlock. Yeah. that's where I live. But all of this started as a YouTube channel and has really grown into a media company where we help other automotive enthusiasts get their message out and their brands out there via video and photography, social media. We've had UBT going for 7 years now. It's a full merch brand, and we do a lot of feature content on the channel where we do profiles of classic trucks, and we do road trips, and we build our own trucks. We've just started doing giveaways, which is a whole new dynamic and a lot of fun. And then we started GassinSupply recently, which is our parts company. So we make our own USA-made specialty parts for the DIY guy who is looking to build anything. It's a little geared toward classic trucks, but a lot of this stuff can be used in a classic car or truck application. And then we sell other parts of trusted brands and relationships that we've established over the last 7 years.
Yeah. So in the last year, you guys have went full time?
Actually, I've been in the last 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last year was our first full year.
Okay.
April of 26, we will have been full time with everything for 2 years. And boy, are we learning some lessons.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet.
I am sure.
We're learning some real lessons, but we're having a lot of fun with it. You know, this is a family-run business. It's a friend-run business. Everybody that we work with all across every aspect of our business was a friend first or a family member.
Right.
So it's a unique thing working with friends, and sometimes that goes great and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But working with family is really awesome. My wife, Sarah, like I mentioned, is sitting here at the end of the table. She helps produce our podcast and is helping produce y'all's today to make sure we're all good. And but she helps run the merch side of the business, helps run Gassin's sort of the administrative and financial side, and is just my right hand for everything that we do.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
So that my wife is like huge supporter, which we talked about on your podcast, but she's a huge supporter. She helps with all the functions. I mean, when we're at shows, she's going to be there.
That's the same with Sarah. Yeah. That's where she shines.
Look, without her, like last year we did our own cruise in. Me and him got out and socialized with everybody, did YouTube video, did a live podcast, and she's running the whole show. Yep. I mean, I look at her a couple times and I'm like, well, and then, this is nuts. She's like running the whole show. She's working with the parking lot guys. She's working the merch booth. She's making sure all the auction stuff's going.
It was a family thing there too, because without my mom and my wife and then uncles and aunts. Yeah. They were what did everything. I mean, we had my uncle running the parking lot. My uncle and aunt ran the merch booth for a little while. Like we had shifts we were in and out of. It was I
like
think
that is such a cool component of what we do in the automotive space. A lot of guys are very family oriented. Guys and gals are all very family oriented. A lot of people that come up to our booth when we're selling merch and doing all of that, they're there with their families. At Fall Revival specifically, my parents came out.
Yep.
You know, our kids are typically there. It's so much more fun because we're traveling all over the place, traveling all over the country. So much more fun when you can take your family with you.
For sure.
And also have your friends, there as well.
Right. That's actually something I mentioned to him yesterday because, our wives aren't here with us today, but we were coming out here and I was like, it would be so cool if my wife was able to come to all these things that we do. She couldn't get off work for it because I got off work before she did. But I was just like, it feels odd going out, not having the family with us. We're a very tight knit family.
Yes, I can see that.
So we like to involve family in everything we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Faith Family Cars, it's in the name.
Yeah, right. When you keep that foot to the gas, and they might be traveling with you before you know it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know GassinSupply is new.
Yes.
I know I'm already looking at battery boxes for the Suburban.
Yeah.
Because the battery tray's gone, and I'm like, hey, I'll order battery box from them guys.
Yep.
But tell us what other parts you guys have on there, because with it being new, a lot of guys may not have checked it out yet.
Yeah, so we manufacture our own ECU mounts for like the Terminator X, which is really the main EFI that folks are running on the LS swaps if they're not using a factory setup. Right. So we make a factory ECU mount, we make a Terminator X mount, we make some air compressor brackets, we make battery boxes, which is our best seller. I've been so surprised by that because battery boxes, a lot of people make battery boxes.
Right.
We've kind of put our own spin on it and have taken what we've learned in building trucks over the last couple of years and made our own box. But I'm trying to think of some of the other things that we make ourselves. Honey? Yeah, for gassing.
Well, I noticed you got the new exhaust flanges.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes, we've got new exhaust bezels that a lot of the pro touring guys are taking and punching a hole through their bedside and running their exhaust out their bedside. It looks
so cool, though, man.
Those exhaust bezels are really nice. I mean, they're a brushed billet aluminum. Our friend Cade at Rustomod, most people don't know this, but he has a machine shop, a very high-end, a very capable machine shop with his dad, and so they started making our exhaust bezels. They make our drop blocks for the 60 to 72 C10 trucks. Those are trailing arm trucks, so if you're into two-wheel drives, most of the time you're into lowering them a little bit. And I remember the very first thing that I would ever buy, because it was, something within reach, would be a drop block. Yeah. So we developed our own little drop blocks. And I'm really excited to see where all of this goes. I mean, it's something that, I talk a good bit about on our podcast, especially when my wife and I talk and do the episodes with each other, about the financial piece of being a full-time creator.
Right.
And I was not raised to talk about money. It was one of those things that was always very, you keep your finances to yourself, you work hard and you figure it out,
right.
Yep. But it is, since it takes a village to kind of, our financial picture is now tied to our supporters,
right.
To our support system, whether it's somebody watching our videos, buying our parts, hiring us to come, film something for them. I feel like the transparency around the financial piece is a little more pertinent topic. So
Yeah.
we talk about it a little more. And GassinSupply has really already, even just a couple of months, is starting to make a really great difference.
Which that's great.
You know, in our financial picture. And so I'm just really excited about that. I didn't know really what I was doing when I started all that.
Yeah.
I kind of understood the vendor and dealer relationship part of that, but making our own products, I'm not a welder. You know,
Right.
Zach, I can't do some of that stuff you can do. I'm not a fab guy.
Yeah.
But we ended up assembling the right team with Phil Can, who's our engineer. Taylor Havner at Tinworks helps us with the majority of our sheet metal products. And then, like I said, Kate at Rosto Mods helping us with some of our billet products. And it has been a bit of a learning curve, but it has been really awesome to kind of pull all this stuff
I feel
together.
like that could like really set everything like
Totally.
a whole nother level.
Yeah, a whole different course,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it is. And we do personal build plans for people. So if they come to us, that they're talking to me the majority of the time. Sarah runs the back end, but I'm literally setting a lot of my time aside now to do a lot of that personal build plan, helping them get the wheels and tires, helping them get the suspension, the radiator, you know, any sort of drop, you know, suspension component. We even sell auto metal direct, so you can buy sheet metal through us for your vehicle, your classic car or truck. So just helping people get the right parts based off, you know, the experience that we've had over the last 10 years building trucks.
Right. And that's awesome. I mean, did you ever think that at the beginning it was going to lead to where it's at now?
No.
Yeah.
I still have to wake up and be like, this is pretty dang cool.
Yeah.
I mean, even with my son this morning, because I'll tell you, and I told my guests yesterday on our podcast, I've had a cold for the last 2 days and I haven't felt very good. And both of, you know, you guys traveled out of town to come down here. My guest yesterday came from Texas and Ohio. And I'm so pumped that people will do that because the in-person thing, awesome. You guys are podcasters, you know, in person, way better.
Way better.
Way better.
We hate when we can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, but there's sometimes it just happens.
Sometimes it has to happen, but I've pretty much put that marker down where we're going to do this in person. We're going to figure it out. Whatever it takes to figure it out, we'll do. I want to do it in person. But it has been just, well, like I was telling my son this morning, I don't feel well. I wish that I get worried about not being able to give my all.
Right.
You know, that's not what it is. It's not that I don't want to come talk to you guys. It's like I want you to get what you want out of this kind of thing. And I said, but isn't it cool? This is my job.
Yeah.
Like this is what I get to go do for a living. And he's like, yeah, this is so cool. And so I do pinch myself really every day. Just like, this is what I get to do. And the fact that, you know, I've created all this from my head. It's taken a ton of support from friends and family. I'm not trying to dismiss that, but when you build something that just, like you told your story on my podcast, it just hits you like a brick wall. I'm starting a podcast.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to be called. This is how we're going to do it.
Yep.
And then it comes to life.
Right.
You know, that's powerful.
Watching the growth is the craziest part.
Yes.
Because like, I mean, I know when we sit down and record, I don't watch our podcasts. I'm a bad person. I don't rewatch what we make. Yeah. I edit the videos. He edits the podcast. So I see the video again, but not when it's on YouTube. Yeah. But for me, like I record, completely forget about it. I'm like, all right, you know, nobody is seeing me, you know, in person. Like I feel like I'm just talking to a microphone and a camera. It doesn't feel, and then you have people come to a car show and it's like, oh man, I'm glad I saw you guys here. Yep. It's like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't know who you are.
And I'll be honest with you, it never gets old.
Oh, I bet it doesn't.
That never gets old.
I bet it doesn't. It's so crazy.
In fact, it makes it worth it.
Yeah.
You know,
it makes it. I think it does.
I mean, take the financial piece out of it. Take, you know, the recognition that you might get from your peers. The person that comes up and watches what you do online, who is just a hardcore automotive person, like, and they are thankful for what you do. That's where the real empowerment is.
Yeah. When I was on Power Tour, I went on Power Tour. We were with a group of guys, you know, but I was by myself in my truck last year. But we ran across 2 or 3 people who just walked up to me and was like, "Oh, you're the guy on Faith Family Cars," and I'm like, "How does he? I mean, he watches this. I mean, come on." And so it's pretty cool to have some. I had 3 guys walked up to me like I had no clue who they were. Yeah. First time I'd ever met them, and you know, we had a little conversation and then went on our way. And I'm like, it does make it worth it all.
That's how you know you're getting traction.
Yeah.
Like, plenty of people that I know or are in the industry even, because you're kind of, if you're in the industry, you're going to kind of know what's happening around you.
Yeah.
You know, at some level, whether it's small or they have any sort of reach, you're going to kind of figure out, oh, that's those Faith Family Car guys. They've got this new podcast. They're doing all this cool stuff. But when somebody, random stranger, just got finished wrenching on their truck, drove it to the show, and was like, hey man, I love what you're doing. There's nothing like that.
Oh, it makes it worth it all.
It's always so weird to me because I am antisocial. I don't like. Other than
I do not get that vibe at all.
Okay, it's because when I get talking to people, I'm fine with it. Like I mean, we've talked for a couple hours now at this point, and I'm okay with talking with you guys. Like I feel comfortable. But if I don't know who you are, my wife talks for me. I don't talk.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't I stay at home. I don't really go places.
This is the truth.
I am an old man. I go to work, come home, take a shower, sit on my couch. That's what I do.
I love it.
You know, we'll go out and wrench in the
weekends we
garage.
wrench.
Yeah. Or we'll record a podcast and stuff, and then I go right back home. I don't go places unless it's with my wife. So then that's where it's so weird to me when people walk up to me. They're like, "Oh man, I watch you guys." I'm like, why? Why are you watching?
Don't question it. You're doing a great thing.
Yeah.
Just own it. You know, that's
it does feel awesome though. It feels so cool. But it's just very weird because I record. When I record, I feel like there's nobody there. I feel like I'm just speaking to a camera. I never see the end product. I sometimes check our comments, sometimes check our views, but most of the time I don't see anything. I would say that's that part of it is healthy.
Yeah.
Getting in the comments gets in your head.
I actually
the comparison game, all of those things that come along with dialing, paying really close attention to that stuff. And I do it, and thankfully I've developed a fairly thick skin, but some of the rough comments are just that. They're rough.
We've just started getting some of that.
Yeah.
And it's
so funny because
really,
it's on the same video too, and believe it or not,
it has been
I'm going to mention this because it's funny you say that. I actually just responded to a comment yesterday on my own YouTube account instead of our Faith Family Cars one, but yesterday, this is the second time we've gotten a bad comment on this video, but we posted a clip of him when he did the radio install in the dash, and so there's a stainless steel
in the F100.
Yeah, stainless steel panel. He did some dimple dies and then put the
head unit
in. Right. Well, first bad comment we got was a long time ago, and the guy's like, "Man, I really do not like this." And we're like, "Okay, well, thanks for your comment."
Thanks for the
comment.
That's
what he said. So I was like,
appreciate you watching.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really care about that. That doesn't bother me that much. Well, then. Like I said, I don't pay attention to anything. And he's like, "Yeah, we received a rough comment again yesterday." And I was like, "Really?" So I went and checked it out on the way here yesterday. And I was like, I'm responding to this guy because he goes, shoot, man, why would you do all that work just to put the cheapest speakers you can back there? And I'm like, so I said, well, there's two things, buddy. One, luckily this is not on the Faith Family Cars guy. He told me not to comment, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to comment anyway. I was like, one, this is the whole our whole channel is about doing budget things.
Of course.
That's what we do. I mean, we build budget vehicles.
Yeah.
And I said, number two, why are you commenting?
Yeah, why does it even matter?
Why does it even matter? Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, it sounds good.
Yes.
It's whatever. And then he goes, I couldn't care less. And I was like, then why comment?
Yeah.
If you can't care less, then why comment?
that would burn me up.
Yeah.
That would be the thing. I'm like, but you do care.
Yeah, because you commented on my video.
Right.
And then now you got me all in a tizzy.
Yeah. So I try to
That's
keep
called speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
Yes.
And I do not like that.
I try to keep the responses to a minimum.
He's always really nice
but I want people to know
responded.
that we're watching.
Paying attention.
We're paying
I
attention.
respond to every comment.
He's too passive. See, I'm the more aggressive side of things. And I think I get it from my wife because my wife gets pretty aggressive.
His mom definitely is not aggressive at all.
Yeah, no, because my mom's not at all. And I wasn't for the longest time. I was just like, go with the flow. People can think whatever they want. I came out of high school. I was like, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do my own thing. And then I started dating my wife in 2020.
She got you a little edge. Huh?
Yeah.
She's feisty, man. Yeah. She's feisty. Her road rage.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Her road rage. There's something else with that.
All right, let's get into some truck talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so my favorite build of yours, I told you earlier, Mississippi Mud.
Yes.
And
Clean
of course,
truck.
that was a giveaway truck.
Yes, the first one we ever did.
But one of the biggest things that was appealing to me was that you had an old school small block in it.
Yep.
And that was so cool.
That's something big on our channel. We like LS swaps, we like Coyote swaps, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Old school small
block, carbureted.
Yeah.
You just can't beat it. Just tell us a little bit about that truck, because I want to talk about some other trucks too.
Yeah.
So just give us a good little overview.
So it was a truck that, so Taylor Inge, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that I've got a picture of a super patina, heavy surface rust, original square body here. I've always loved this truck. Taylor Inge is out of y'all's area in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And
Inge Auto Works.
He bought this truck. I think he bought it from out west, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, always loved the truck, so I thought if I can ever find one that even remotely has that kind of look, I'm going to buy it. Well, I ended up finding one, and just so happened that it was in way worse condition than we expected. And even though it had this look, it needed a whole floor, half the firewall, up the A-pillars. I mean, it was quite a mess. So thankfully, I had a great team helping me at the time, Mike Howe. He led that whole team and led that build, and we ended up putting a really cool truck together that was on Detroit Speed suspension. We married a small block, a crate motor 350, had aluminum heads,
Nice.
Old school flat tappet cam.
Yep.
To me, it sounded like a circle track truck. Or a circle track car, but even though it was in a truck, heavy lope.
Glass packs.
Yeah, I think it was on glass packs. I think it was on a 108 LSA. So, I mean, it was chopping. And then we put Terminator X-Max on it. So we kind of married modern and old school, and we put a 4L80 behind it just because I drive these trucks all over the place. And so the Terminator X-Max ran the 4L80, ran the fuel injection, and then we had the small block 350. And I'm with you. I love LSs. A lot of my channel was built on doing LS swaps. The first truck that we may end up talking about, Teddy, my 68 GMC. That was the first truck I ever kind of took all the way down to the frame, built it back up. We LS swapped it. I started my channel 6 months later. I was like, I've got some confidence that I can do this, and I'm going to go share what I'm learned, or just embarrass myself in front of everybody and put this on YouTube. But ended up building that Mississippi mud truck, which was a 75 square body, heavy patina truck. Drove it 8 or 10,000 miles. And then
went to Arizona.
Went to Arizona with 50 miles on it. We did
Wow.
roughly 3,500 miles on that trip in that truck. Never had a single issue, and it was just a really cool square body hot rod truck kind of build. I told everybody,
car combo, man, I loved it.
Yeah, so that is a thing that I really take a lot of pride in, is having the right vision when it comes to color combinations, like making sure that your color palette, they all kind of work together. So on that truck, it was a powder blue color. I think it's called sky blue or skyline blue, but it had so much surface rust on it, I wanted to pick up a lot of the reds. This truck, Taylor Inge's truck, is silver with that kind of patina, but it has red guts in it. Like the seat, the door panels, the dash, and all is this really cool early 70s square body red. And I think they quit making it in 75. But it's just this really rich red color, and that truck had blue interior in it. And so I switched it. I wanted to switch it over to red. So I picked up on the browns and reds that was in the patina with the red interior. We did red line tires. The truck was blue, and then we used gold to kind of tie back into the other side of the patina and surface rust to pick up the browns. And those, we just stuck with those three color palettes. And then we painted the engine gold, an old Yuba gold, which also tied back into it. So I feel like that's something that I take a lot of pride in. I try to really make sure that everything fits together, because if it doesn't, then it doesn't look as thought out. Like your F100, perfect example. It's got blue interior. You were just talking about this on our podcast. Blue interior, dark blue exterior, polished wheels.
Right.
Those are three things that all go together. Yeah. Three sort of color palettes that all go really well together.
Yep.
And I think it can be that simple. It should be that simple.
Right.
If you start getting outside of that three color palette range, you're going to really start making things look a little off.
Yeah. I would agree.
A little like you were trying too hard, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you see builds that are like that, where it looks
100%.
like they tried a little too hard.
I think simplicity is the best.
100%.
The best possible thing. I mean, you will never
That's how you get timeless.
Yes.
Like if
Exactly.
simple is what becomes in most respects timeless.
You will never see a car or a truck that is just simple and clean that you will not stop and look at. Now, there's some like over the top stuff that you'll be like, oh wow, that's a little too much, and then walk past. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, like anything and everything. Mustangs, Civics, trucks, anything. If just clean, simple,
it always turns out the best.
It does.
Right.
It does.
Right.
Yep. And like you said, timeless. It'll never go. It'll never go out of style.
Yeah. The only thing that might go out of style is your rim choice.
Exactly.
Right.
That is the main
But
thing.
the color combos are typically going to be.
You can change wheels anytime you want.
Yeah. Right. That's exactly
Color's
right.
a little bit more.
A little more permanent.
Well, let's move into Teddy. You mentioned Teddy.
Yep.
Teddy used to be a fleet side bed.
I know this thing has taken a
Step side
many
now.
lives of its own.
Well, when I first saw you doing the step side bed, I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to like that
That's
or not.
what everybody says.
But then when it was done, I was like, that looks really good. So Teddy's your first build.
Yeah. So I mentioned this on on your podcast or y'all's episode on my podcast earlier, but my first truck was a 67 silver poly C10 step side. It was 3 on the tree. Couldn't even drive it home. Told y'all that earlier. And I love that truck. I really love that truck. And I think step sides really have this cool old school feel.
Yeah, they do.
And so I've always loved them. Most people that are in my orbit are like fleet side only.
Mm-hmm.
They just think they can only be fleet side. Right. And I love fleet sides. So I'm big about building a truck around whether it's a set of wheels or a body part that I have. I like original paint. I like patina. Mm-hmm. So I had the opportunity to buy a bed, a fleet side bed that was what turned out to be 518 medium green, which is the 70 and up seafoam green kind of color in GM. Teddy is 503 light green, which is 67 to 69 because it's a 68 GMC. And so I had the opportunity to buy this bed. I had already started building a truck that had been painted and had a bunch of hidden rust, like we were talking about on your S10. I got to where at first I wouldn't look past the frame rails, and now I crawl all the way under the truck when I'm looking for rust, because there was a lot of rust under this particular truck that ended up becoming Teddy under the gas tank. So, I mean, just fist-size holes. And so I ended up finding I had the opportunity to buy that bed, and so I ended up finding another truck that I was just going to use the cab and clip off of, and I had the chassis from the truck that was super rusted. It was a short bed frame, and it was a short bed truck. So I ended up basically marrying a cab and clip from another truck to the chassis of a different 68 truck, and taking that later green bed and putting it on Teddy. And so that ended up becoming Teddy. We LS swapped it, didn't fix any of the rust. I mean, it's a pretty down and dirty type truck. Yeah. I did that with my dad in the summer of 2018, my dad and a couple of friends, and then we drove it on Power Tour. It's the first and only time I've ever been on Power Tour. Well, we did that trip. It was so much fun. And then that gave me the confidence to, like I said, start the channel after that. Yeah. All that said, though, the truck has been wrecked since that time. So it's got a totally different front clip on it, all original paint still, and it's got a different bed on it. So Teddy ends up being a truck that is, especially by now, since it's got the step side bed on it, it is 6 different trucks. So it's got a different clip. The front clip is from Canada. So it actually says GMC 910 on it, because the Canadian designation for a half-ton truck is 910, not C10. Okay. Which is really unique. Yeah, so it's got a Canadian front clip. Cab and doors were made here in Atlanta. The bed I got out of Indiana, and it's a step side, all original paint bed. And really the reason I wanted to swap the beds is, as I mentioned before, I'm a purist when it comes to original paint and patina, and the 2 shades of green were off, on the fleet side bed versus the cab and clip. And it just over time irritated me. It did not bother anybody else. It didn't
really couldn't tell it.
You really couldn't tell, but it irritated me. Right. Yeah. And so
he's the same way with stuff. He'll do the same kind of thing.
So I'm always on the hunt for original paint. C10 parts, especially 67 to 72 parts. And I found that bed. I actually found the whole truck except for the cab. So I really have a whole nother truck I can build that's 503 light green if I find a good cab. Yeah. So I've got doors and fenders and hoods and all tailgate, all that stuff. But I ended up swapping that step side bed on it. And we were talking about GassinSupply a minute ago. That's one of the reasons I started making those exhaust bezels. The truck that I got all this sheet metal off of was a Pro Touring autocross type truck. And so they had blown holes through the bedside and the step side fenders and put some exhaust bezels that you can no longer get anymore in them.
That's
so
awesome.
We put our own little twist on them, and I was getting a bunch of requests about where'd you get those exhaust bezels.
Yeah.
Went to try to find them, couldn't find them, and so we just made our own.
Nice.
Which is a really cool part of.
It is.
It's not 6 months ago. That's not something I was even thinking about being able to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've just kind of figured it out.
I was going to ask you earlier, but I didn't because I didn't know if I should or not.
You can ask me anything.
If those bezels had came from that bed.
Yeah. So
design
the
that you are
inspiration,
doing.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they have been tweaked a bit.
Yes.
But
the thought,
the
the
overall
design.
inspiration came from exactly those.
That's so
because
cool.
people started asking me about them.
Yeah.
They
Well, they
saw
look
them on the
cool.
truck, and then so where can we get those? And normally I'll just share links. But I don't have to make money on it. It's like I want to help people get the parts they want.
I'm going to be honest. We have talked about multiple times putting them in the F100.
Yeah.
Because we want to tuck the exhaust.
Yes.
The frames and the way that truck is, you always see the muffler hanging.
Yeah.
And we want to get that exhaust tucked up tight. And in order to do that, we'd have to send it out the side of the bed.
Well, running true duals out one side is kind of difficult if you want it to be tucked, and that's what we deal with that truck.
Right.
So we've changed the exhaust system like 5 times.
Yeah.
What you could do though, if you want to run, you're talking about running both tailpipes out one side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just do a like a figure 8 type bezel, which we could help you figure out.
We might have talked
That'd
about
be
not
pretty
having
sick.
2 standalone bezels.
Yeah.
Having one bezel that has a little dip in the
Connects.
center that that would be
That'd
cool.
be
That would be
I
so
would love
sick.
to
And that would get it all tucked up
all
tight.
tucked up and
man.
look like it's
And
meant
you
to.
know what? It'll tie everything together with the new wheels,
Ooh.
new
It would.
home bumper.
Ooh,
It would look good.
Oh,
so good.
We're getting off on something.
Let's
We can
build
talk
your
about
truck
this
right
later.
here on this podcast. How about that? That's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, man. So Teddy is almost kind of like, for guys that have been watching United by Trucks for a while.
It's
Teddy's
the flagship truck.
Yeah. That's everybody knows it,
Yep.
And which, United by Trucks, everybody thinks C10, but you're a big GMC guy. It is, yes, it's the same truck.
Yeah, but I love
the front
GMCs,
ends, I
yes.
think, are what I've heard you say before that you're
They're
attracted
different.
to.
Yeah. They're more unique. They have a little bit different trim options. Like my grandfather's truck is a 68 GMC, just like Teddy, but just fleet side long bed. But in 68, only in 68, on the full trim trucks, did they put a red line down the center of the trim.
That's crazy.
Only in 68.
Yeah.
The hubcaps for that year, only 68. There's one hanging right there.
Yeah.
They didn't make that hubcap in any other year, but and in that color combo, but in 68. So there's a lot of really cool things that GMC did. They have different, little accents on some of the trim knobs, like the lighter knobs and stuff like that on the interiors that I just think are cool.
Yeah.
The grills are totally different. In 67 only, they stamped GMC into the grill itself and had no hood letters. And then in 68, they started running hood letters. But, 67, GMCs just have some interesting touches.
In classics in general, when you look at all manufacturers, they did cool stuff like that back then.
For sure. Especially
They had
in the
1
first
year
year
only
of
stuff.
the model.
Yes.
They would always do something a little different. And then it's like it took them a year or two to kind of refine and systemize,
Right.
Yeah.
what they
Right.
wanted to do after that.
But that's the coolest thing to me. I mean, when you look at a Chevelle, every year Chevelle
Yes.
has a different tail light or a different headlight or a different marker light. There's something
Or
different
a
about
completely different size altogether.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, those mid 60s Chevelles what was it, 68? They went to the body style that went from 68 to 72, I
Yes.
believe.
Yep.
Totally different car.
Totally different.
car.
Right.
I
And
can do cool stuff like that these days.
yeah, well, they're dealing with plastic and
Yeah, and junk. That's the
And
problem.
as much as I love earth tone and matte colors,
oh my
everything
goodness.
is earth tone and
Yeah,
matte
exactly.
color.
Man, we went
Yes.
to Mo Party, and the thing I was like, this is our first time ever going to Mo Party, but the thing I was
Mo
so
Party, I don't know if you know what it is.
Yeah,
about-
Holly's
okay.
Mo Party.
Yeah.
Yep.
thing I was so excited about was the fact that you were seeing pink cars and green cars
Yes.
and yellow cars, and it's
Yeah.
all factory stuff.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just because, I mean, even now Dodge still does that, and like I'm not a Dodge person at all,
Yeah, me
but they make cool colors, man.
Although I
They
love
got
the
good
swept
colors.
line, that early
Yes.
mid
Oh, yeah.
60s
Yeah.
swept line D100.
Yeah.
Those
We
are
saw
some
quite a
love
few of
them.
those, and those are nice.
Yeah, I love
But
those
I'm with
trucks.
you. Like I'm pointing at a paint code chart for 67 right here, and those colors are not quite fully representative of how they look in real life, but I mean, the butternut yellow, that light yellow color down there on the bottom, even the ivory. I mean, that's a cream colored truck, and it just looks
great.
Oh my gosh! And you hardly ever see them in real life. You know, hardly ever see them in public. So I love I love all the cool colors that you could get in the 60s.
Steely Dan's one you've been working on recently.
Yes.
Great name.
A lot of the,
great name.
It is.
I think so. It's a good band, right?
Yeah.
Apparently it has all sorts of other meanings that we shouldn't talk about on this podcast.
I didn't know that.
No.
Me either. Me either. So maybe don't look it up. And
Us innocent-minded people wouldn't know.
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
So Steely Dan, I'm not going to get into a lot about it, but I know you just did a QA1 suspension on it, and that truck it is looking awesome. But I did see it at Fall Revival.
Yes, you saw it before we did the QA1 stuff. Yeah. So we had a 5.6 on it then and just threw some torque thrusts on it.
Yeah.
It's a good running 350 TBI. I've got a crate motor and another 6.0 that I'm probably going to put in it with a manual trans. But we recently put the QA1 level 3 kit on it. We did our battery box relocation kit. That's actually the first battery box we ever produced. I put on that truck just to kind of make sure it all fit like we wanted to. We actually made some revisions to the battery box because of that, how it fit. And we did all the Borgeson quick ratio steering box and did the U-joint hard-mounted steering shaft, which I like for like responsive feel, and did slosh tubs. Okay. So we get the front really low.
Are you going to autocross that truck?
I mean, I've said all these years, yes.
I've heard you say that.
I mean, that is the goal. I've always been a street cruiser. I've never autocrossed or road raced anything. I want something that at least will have the capability to do it and match hopefully what my driving skill might be like, but I really don't know. Right. I don't know if I'm a decent driver or not.
Yeah, honestly. But you'll learn.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I've got a lot of people around me who are excellent at autocrossing.
Right. I mean, I autocrossed the one time I ever did it on Power Tour, and I rode with a guy in a Mach 1 Mustang who was an amateur, but he'd done it many times. Yeah. And he ran me around in it, in which the Mach 1 is very close sit up to the Cobra. Yeah.
It's actually identical.
Motor and everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's got, actually the motor's different. The heads are different.
Okay.
The heads are different. Like I'm the SN95 guy.
Yeah, right.
The heads are different, but it does have the independent rear suspension.
Yeah, so
it handles really well.
Yeah. When did they make a Mach 1 though?
Was that 03, 04 was the only
So that was the later SN95 body style, the one
that's
it's
like
the
new
bullet.
Edge. It's the new Edge, yeah.
Yeah, new Edge.
Yeah, so 03, 04 is when they did that, and that's the same time they did the Terminator Cobra.
Yes.
It was 03, 04.
Yes, which was a blown.
It was blown motor, but it had different heads than the Mach 1 did. The Mach 1 had the same heads that the 96 to 98 Cobra had.
Okay.
And then they changed the heads again in 01. It was a weird situation. Yeah. They really played with that motor.
I used to love. I actually knew quite a bit about Mustangs back in the day. I was really into them. Like I said on our podcast, the Cobra that I was first introduced to, or like a really high horsepower car, or what I thought was high horsepower, but just a really fun car that you could tear the streets up in, was a Cobra.
It's the best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
They
sound incredible.
Oh, they do.
The 4-valve 4.6
God, they sound
so
good. I still like the 5.0 better.
Yeah.
But man, they sound incredible.
It's got its own thing. It's its own sound. It's completely different.
I mean, Mustangs to this day have their own sound.
Oh, they do.
They
do.
Golly.
Yeah, they're crazy. Yeah, so running autocross in that car, I mean, after riding with him just a few times, I told my youngest son, we're going to autocross the Cobra while we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, so we hopped in, we borrowed some helmets, and we ran that car like 5 passes. The brakes were giving out, last 2.
Because it was so hot.
Yeah. So, but I was like, this is a blast.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you need to go out and run that truck. And
for sure.
No matter what you feel like your driving skill is or not.
Fun. Like when you corner, you could corner as slow as possible, but it feels so fast in the vehicle. It's so fun.
Well, I've ridden in some crazy wild.
Yeah.
I've ridden, I mean, that truck behind you on the wall was 700 horsepower, all motor, independent rear suspension, one of the greatest drivers around. I mean, I've ridden in vehicles that you literally feel like you're going to upchuck as you are making the turn. I mean, it is incredible. But I think my interest is probably more in road racing. Like, I want to get out on a road course and race myself. You know, I mean, I'm racing myself in a sense in autocross, but I want to see what it's like at like a road Atlanta or something like that at a track day.
You're hitting a lot higher speeds.
Yeah. And I'm not doing this the entire time. I've got some straightaway. I've got some incline. I've got some of those type.
The cool thing too is there's so many different cars that go to these road course events, like just like practice days and stuff. You can see where your vehicle stacks up for sure. To a lot of stuff. I mean, I've seen videos of like Honda Civics that outrun brand new cars and stuff because they've just got it tuned the way they want it.
Yeah, I've gone and filmed some Time Attack stuff, Global Time Attack.
Yeah.
Their races up at Road Atlanta. I mean, it's crazy what those guys are bringing
cool,
out.
Man.
There's one guy, I think I just blanked on this the other day and I'm blanking on it again, but he has a full second gen Camaro that's set up for Time Attack. Yeah. And he's out there running against the A90 Supras and all that kind of stuff.
The type of aero they put on those Time Attack cars is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they're like, oh yeah, this functions this way and the air flows off of it that way.
Got all these splitters and air dams. And
way above my, like anything I know,
But it's really cool to see them push a car like that.
Oh yeah. And it's so neat.
I've got the helmet. I'm a full poser. I've even got a custom helmet over here ready to go. Patina, looking amazing.
Man. You will get there.
I will get there.
You got to
I got to finish. I got to get the truck.
Right. You'll definitely enjoy it. Cornering, like I'm a big drag racing guy, but cornering just feels so different. Yeah. It's so cool. Like
I did a lot. I didn't do a lot of drag racing. I've driven a vehicle down a quarter mile or an eighth of a mile. We used to go to Steele, Alabama, a lot when I was your age, and so I've done that before, and it's cool. I like the straight line stuff, but I can see how the autocross and how the road race stuff, the more that side of motorsports would be a lot more exhilarating.
I've done a lot of stuff in Mexico.
A
lot of stuff in Mexico. So like straight line stuff has always been my thing because I've always taken a lot of pride in having the fastest car out of like my group of friends that I hang out with and stuff. But
you got a pretty good head start with that SN95 Cobra.
Yeah, I know. Well, I wanted to make sure when I wrecked that 95, I was like, or 94. It was 94. I was like, I got to upgrade, so I went to the Cobra. I was actually looking at like 2017 performance pack Mustangs, but they were a little bit out of my price range, so I was like, let's stick with the Cobra.
Yeah, but you got a car with some street cred.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That car is.
But
that car is cool.
What I was getting at though was the best, like the most fun I've ever had driving, like ever, was I did essentially like a mountain race essentially.
Yeah.
So like it's like
a rally kind of deal?
Not necessarily. It's more I did it in the Cobra. It's like on a street, but you are driving through hills and windy turns in Mexico as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
And I did wreck, actually. I've never told that story on a podcast. But I wrecked.
And does your dad support all this?
No. No, I called him at 2 a.m.
This is why it's in Mexico.
I called him I don't think I called him. Maybe I did call him.
You did call him.
It was at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But me and my buddies were running through. I say it's a mountain, but it's really a hill. Like
it's a very large hill.
It's a very large hill, but it's a 1-lane road.
It's a mountain to us, us Easterners.
Yeah. Well, it's running through a bunch of curves, and there's no guardrails, which is the scary part.
Yeah,
but
that would totally be scary.
I had a buddy in a Hyundai Tiburon, which took it great. It's a tiny little front wheel drive car. It did awesome. My buddy in front of me had a 99 Cobra, which had an independent rear suspension. Still, it wasn't. It was a NA motor. So me and him made like the same power, and then me with my straight axle, and I wrecked the car. But I've never had like any more fun than taking those turns. That's what I'm getting at. It's like just the cornering is so much fun when you drive. It feels so good.
Yeah, I love that. Was that part of the New Edge thing as they went to the IRS in the rear? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was in 99.
So now
in the Cobra only.
Yeah, only in the Cobra.
In the Cobra only.
Yes.
Okay, so the GTs are still solid axle.
Yep.
Okay.
So the 99 to 01 Cobra was NA, and it was IRS.
Okay.
Then 02 they made Cobras, but they were like super, super rare. Like
made a few.
There might be like 10 left in existence, maybe.
Wow.
I actually follow a guy on Instagram that has one. He lives in a different country, but he has one.
Why so? I mean, I wonder why they didn't.
I don't know. And from what I understand, they're NA too. They look slightly different. They've got some little things on them, but Cobras in other countries look different regardless. Like if you get a Cobra from, there's a guy I follow in Sweden. I think his Cobra was from Japan. It has fender flares on it.
Yeah. And C10s also look different.
Yeah.
From other countries.
A lot of Ford trucks too. I mean, you can get like the
what is it? The Mercury? They make a Mercury.
Yeah, they make a Mercury.
The classic Mercury.
The M100. That was Canada.
Yes.
What is that SUV?
It is a 3-door. They had them in Argentina, Brazil.
I think that's what I'm talking about. Is the
I think
Mercury
it is.
SUV?
Is that what?
Oh no, these were a Ford.
Okay.
It was a B100.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The B100 was a 3-door SUV, like a carry-all Suburban type deal. and they made them everywhere but the United States because Chevrolet, apparently General Motors, had some kind of patent deal on the Suburban.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
which is the longest running SUV in America.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And so they couldn't produce them.
Flex some muscle, huh?
But
kept everybody else from making something like that.
You can import them now because they're past that 25 year thing. So there's people importing them like crazy.
Cool.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
They're wild, but that's something I want to get into now is the Suburban. So you've got so many trucks that we could talk about, but I narrowed it down to a few.
Sorry. I've actually sold a few lately, which is a thing I try not to do. I will hold on to. I like to have a $15,000 trucks versus one $15,000 truck.
Right.
Like I would much rather have a bunch of old junk than one thing that is perfect.
I think I feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, I like classic cars and trucks. I love them so much. But I've sold a couple things. I mean, that's part of that, getting out and trying to be self-employed and doing this on my own. I've had to let a couple go here and there.
Cut back a little.
Yeah, but I've still got a few.
You recently got the Suburban.
Yep.
And I'm anxious to watch this build because we're building a Suburban at the same time.
Yep.
Yours is 4-wheel drive.
That's
Ours
right.
is 2-wheel drive. We're gonna have two totally different looks.
It looks really good.
It does look good.
So if you look at the driver's side, is what it's supposed to look like. Is more what it's going to look like. I still haven't got the running board or the old trim off on the passenger side.
That's what I saw when I got out of the truck. So I saw the driver's side.
The driver's side is looking more like I want it to look, for sure.
Tell us what the future of that truck holds.
So it's going to be a pretty light build. All I'm going to be doing is refreshing the suspension. I don't want it super raised or anything or lifted or anything. I bought this with my wife in mind. I want her to be able to have something that she can get in and drive around town, haul our kids around in, hit a curb if she needs to, something like that. And as much as I'm a two-wheel driver,
to throw that in.
She's not a bad driver. I don't mean that. I've been hitting the curbs lately, so. But I am a two-wheel drive guy, but I grew up loving four-wheel drive stuff.
Yeah.
Four-wheel drive stuff just always was more expensive. Now it's kind of flip-flopped.
Right.
I mean,
it has.
I still think four-wheel drive classics are fairly expensive, but you could get a two-wheel drive vehicle back when I was your age, and that's why I was so impressed that you had an S10 four-wheel drive. You know, well, I had the two-wheel drive because I couldn't afford the four-wheel drive version of it, but I have always loved four-wheel drives. That's an 86 K10, so it's a half-ton four-wheel drive Suburban. It's out of Texas. It's got beautiful black patina, surface rust on it. I don't think it has any rust in it. It has 2 dents in it, like dents and dings is all I can really find. And I'm pretty liberal when it comes to dents, dings, and rust. Yeah. I'll buy a truck that has quite a bit of those. But this one is really straight. It's in really good condition. The motor had been overheated pretty bad, so we did have to scrap the motor, but it had a 700 R4 and an MP208 in it. I do still have those, and we're probably just going to put a 6.0 in it and redo all the interior and take all the tint off.
Okay.
And that's really all we're going to do.
It's awesome.
And I'm going to drive that thing all over the country.
You're taking it on a big road trip.
Yeah, we're going to Moab in the middle of May.
Nice.
That's so sick, man.
Yeah, there's
I'm so excited to see that.
Big C10 trip out there. So me, Sarah, Millie are going to go, and then we're taking a videographer so we can document the whole deal. So and I'm stoked. I'm going to drive us all the way out there in that thing.
Yeah.
Moab is a bucket list spot for me.
I've never been. I've been to Arizona. I've done a lot of stuff out west. I've been to Oregon and Washington and all in between, but I've been to Salt Lake City, but I've never been to Moab.
So I've never been out west, in general.
Really?
Yeah. So
as a car guy, you gotta go.
I want to really bad.
Everything looks better out west.
When I was I've seen videos.
It's incredible.
But when I was like when we were on your podcast, I was saying that I fell out of the car scene for a little bit.
Yeah.
But when I fell out of the car scene, I bought a Nissan Xterra.
Yeah.
And I put 31s on it. Maybe, no, 33s. 33s is what I put on it. And that's what I wanted to do was off-road and go out to like out west and stuff, and it just never happened because I can't hold on to a vehicle for more than a year. So.
Also a car guy.
Yeah. So, but that's why I'm so excited for this because I still want to do that kind of stuff, and I'm so excited to see what y'all do out there.
It is going to a show is fun, and driving to the show is fun in a classic. But there's nothing better than going on a multi-day road trip.
Oh, no,
show just...
Right.
Sorry to my show promoter friends, but it becomes insignificant. It's the trip getting there and the trip getting home.
For sure.
Like it's unbelievable riding in something old, driving in something old across those interstates and highways, Route 66, whatever it is, just being able to see terrain that looks nothing like what we live in.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like you can see. Right. You can see a mile away. You'll watch a mountain for an hour and a half before you get to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy.
It's beautiful.
And everything is so pretty.
Well,
so
to
pretty.
me, you were talking about the trip there is in a classic. I don't care how refined your classic is. It's still an old truck.
Absolutely.
An old car.
Whatever
it's
it
still
is.
got creaks, cracks, noises.
Yep.
You know, no matter how refined it is, it's still going to have it. And you can give me all the new trucks in the world right now. I can drive. I mean, I drive a new truck every day.
Me too. I love mine.
Yeah, and they're comfort. They're great. But when you get out of that and you hop in that classic, it is totally different.
Yep.
I mean, it is an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of times I'm just going to hop in it to go and think. You know, get out and drive and think. You know, what's next?
Yep.
You know, and pray, that kind of thing.
It's a great place to do it.
It is. It is. And it is just a total different feeling being in that classic. Yeah. So
I agree.
I agree that the trip there home is usually the best part of the whole
100%.
thing.
That's where things really happen.
Yeah.
That's where, whether it's a good idea, it's an experience with your family or friends.
Right.
I mean, we're big into wildlife. I like to hunt. We were driving. We were not in a classic, but we were driving home from Vancouver, BC last summer. Awesome. My wife's parents took us on an Alaskan cruise, and I hate flying, so I agreed to fly out there, but we had to drive home. So we drove. It ended in Vancouver, BC, and so we drove home, which was an incredible experience. And we got to see elk and velvet, wild horses, antelope, all sorts of stuff on the sides of the road. Pronghorn. Sorry, I shouldn't say antelope. Pronghorn. Let's be politically correct here.
Whatever.
But it's just incredible. And we were in, I can't remember how many states. It was like a dozen different states.
Yeah.
And you're seeing all this different, topography, and you're at different elevations. I mean, there's so much. We went to Yellowstone, went to Grand Tetons. There's so much in this country to see.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it in a classic, it is like you feel like you're doing it in a way that is special also. Not just the things you're seeing. You are getting around in a special way.
Right.
The road trip is always it's always something I really enjoy. Yeah. And, me and my wife, we love to travel.
Yes.
So you mentioned seeing elk and stuff. We went out to we're fairly close to Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
Or not Rocky Mountains, sorry. Smoky Mountains. Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, y'all have elk in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were on the North Carolina side of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, and there was just elk walking up into the woods.
I've seen one cow elk in the Smoky Mountains.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
But
just
cool.
it's so beautiful. And then we were there in the winter or early spring but there was snow on the mountains.
Yeah.
It's all snow capped and stuff.
I mean,
it's beautiful.
It's just beautiful.
This country is amazing.
It is.
I mean, there's so much really cool stuff to see.
We have every biome that you could imagine here. I mean, you could have anything.
Great use
desert.
of that term.
Yeah,
I had heard that term as biology back in the day.
Oh man, I play Minecraft. That's why I got that.
That's a notch in your belt right there. Dropping biome in a car pouch.
No man, I play Minecraft. There's biomes in Minecraft. That's where I even pulled that from.
I like it. That was good.
You shouldn't have said that's where you pulled it from.
I know. You had way more credibility before.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm a gamer, right? It's all right, But we liked, me and my wife like going to music festivals.
Yes,
and stuff.
for sure.
We went out into St. Louis and saw Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
That actually brings us into our next topic.
Yeah.
You're a music guy.
I am a music guy.
So, what do you like? What are you into, man?
I'm into everything.
Same here.
So I started playing guitar when I was 8,
Okay.
but I have my stepdad is whom I consider, he raised me. I was raised by my stepdad. But my biological dad was big into guitars, big into music, could play guitar really well. And all my uncles on his side were also that way. And so my Uncle Jack, specifically my biological dad's brother, and I and my dad would sit down in his basement and listen to Skynyrd and listen to Atlanta Rhythm Section, listen to all this, Boston, listen to all this classic rock stuff. And I would sit there with a cheap acoustic guitar and watch them play. They would turn it up on vinyl, and they would just sit there and, play all this stuff. And I finally started picking up on it, where none of us are trained classically or anything like that. It's all by ear. Yeah. You learn the chords, kind of go from there. And I would watch them play all this stuff, and I finally started kind of figuring it out, and they would help me along, and then I got to where I could play with them. And then I would go home and turn my vinyl on and blow my parents out of the house kind of thing. And it just is, it's my oldest passion. There's a 60s Jazzmaster hanging right here on the wall. That is a replica. That's not a real 60s Jazzmaster, or it would not be hanging on that wall. It'd be at home in a case under the bed.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is a replica of one, and a very good replica of one, in fact. But I love Fender guitars. I love Gibson guitars. I'm big into 335s, and I love Jazzmasters. And I listen to heavy music, whether it's screamo, emo type stuff. I like Thrice. I like Under Oath. I like Brand New. I kind of came up in that part of the scene. And I like country music. I like hip hop. I like all sorts of stuff. I mean, my playlist on Spotify is all over the place.
Well, we've got a new little thing that has kind of just started by accident.
Yeah. So do you remember how I told you some of our podcasts we start by talking about whatever topic I bring? Well, that topic's most of the time music.
Yeah, I love it.
So we've got a whole new session now of our podcast called What's on Zach's Playlist.
Yes.
So we're going to get into what's on Zach's playlist now.
Bring out what I've been listening to. I bring out what I've been listening to. So I'm horrible this week, and I knew I should have listened to more music leading up, but I'm also a big podcast guy. I listen to
Me too.
tons of podcasts. So this week was literally only podcasts, so I got like a little to no music in this week.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna get some
Can I give mine also?
Oh yeah.
I'm very proud of. I love music.
We were gonna ask you yours too.
Yeah. So I got it ready. I'm ready.
I've been really nostalgic lately. Yeah. Okay, so I was born in 2001, early 2000s. Yep. So I've been listening to like a lot of new metal lately.
Yes.
And Korn is my favorite metal band of all time. Yeah. So I've been listening to Korn, Linkin Park, POD, stuff like that. I've also been like going into late 2000s style, so like your screamo, emo kind of stuff. Motionless in White, that's a good one.
Yep.
I've actually found this Christian band I've been really following lately called Collective Dust. They've got like 6 songs out.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Their newest song is literally called 2007 called And They Want Their Music Back. So
this sounds like some old Chiodos type it's like, song titles where they just were like,
they say whatever they want. So like I don't know if you listen to like Midwest emo, but like Mom Jeans, they have songs that are called like random stuff like
we just got an arrow about Mom Jeans.
I know Mom Jeans is so good. That's a great band name. Great band name.
But hold on, I'm blanking on a name. I'll have to look up a song. Like Scott Pilgrim versus my GPA. You can't eat cats, Kevin.
Yes, those kinds
Vape
of song
Nation,
titles.
Girl Scout cookies, stuff like that. But that's what's on my playlist this week. A lot of new metal, and then going into the mid to late 2000s.
So on mine, I think this is a pretty good indicator of where I am right now. So Treaty Oak Revival, which is kind of like a little more of that red dirt, but also alternative type.
Love them.
Music.
They're so good.
Their new album, incredible. Old Emarosa. Do you know who Emarosa is? Like Johnny Craig. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
So they were kind of in that screamo emo kind of world back in around the time you were. Well, I guess it'd be a little later than the time you were born, but listen to them a lot. They have a new singer and a new album out.
Okay.
I've also been listening to that. Morgan Wallen. I'll go right in. I might get bashed for that, but I like Morgan Wallen too. And then Muscadine Bloodline, which is a great duo, great country duo.
Have you ever listened to Title Fight?
Yeah, I know who they are.
Okay,
yeah.
Have you ever heard someone say that Treaty Oak Revival is the title fight of country music?
No, but I can see that.
That's what I'm thinking. I saw somebody on TikTok comment that, and I was like, you know what? That is perfect. That is
Another
exactly
one of my favorite bands I've been listening to is The Story So Far. Like I like pop punk, and they're kind of the newer age pop punk.
Did you
band.
listen to any of Machine Gun Kelly's pop punk stuff when he was doing that?
No, I know what I saw some of it, but I didn't really listen.
I'm about to lose all my metal music
I know,
credit.
man. MGK,
I'm about to lose everything.
I have a thing about him.
I'm about to lose everything that anybody that cares about this segment of the podcast is gonna not trust me anymore. Yeah. But I actually kind of like some of it.
I mean, that's.
And then him and Slipknot started getting bashing each other, and I was a big Slipknot fan, so I was like, push him away.
I am one of those people that music can divide so many people, but it can also bring so many people together.
Yeah.
And the division part of it is not bad. Yeah. It's not like political division, where that just like destroys people.
Yeah.
Musical, like that can be fun. Yeah. Like I'm not really into MGK, kind of think he's an a nut.
Oh, he's a complete weirdo. He's a freak.
But I love that you love his music.
Yeah,
or at least love a portion of his music.
Well, see, what I've noticed is a lot of times, like the really weird freak people make really good stuff.
Oh man, they're the best creators.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with that.
But like you were mentioning like country music and stuff, I listen to Tyler Childers.
Yeah, man.
My wife
sure.
loves Tyler Childers. She saw him live.
You just got all
year.
your cred back. All your music cred.
Okay, well then I'll keep going. Then I'll keep going.
You're good.
Tyler Childers from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Sturgill Simpson from Kentucky.
Yes. Who also produced Tyler's early stuff. I don't know if he produced his latest
stuff. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Sturgill produced the first Tyler Childers album.
Billy Strings. You listen to Billy Strings?
Yeah, I know who that is. Stuff. I don't listen to him. I know exactly who it is. Though.
Well, y'all want to hear what I've been listening
to?
I don't know. I don't know. His playlist is pretty good. But
let's look at what Sarah's been listening to. We'll get real boring here.
Well, I think what I've been listening to is pretty cool. So, I don't know if you've ever seen Oakwood Auto Detailing on Instagram.
Yes, I have. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's been making these posts of OBS trucks, him driving in OBS trucks, listening to American Top 40 Country Countdown.
Okay.
Interesting.
I thought, where's he getting this from? I looked it up on YouTube, and they got all of them on there.
No kidding.
You can go on YouTube and watch all the 80s and 90s American country countdowns.
Now, you'd be all into that.
So
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've been sitting at night when I'm editing or whatever and listening to the top 40 country countdown. It is like so cool to go back.
I mean, that's got to be like Billy Ray Cyrus, Faith Hill.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of it like is in the early 90s is Garth Brooks number one.
Yeah, right.
You get a lot of Garth Brooks number one. You got a lot of like Diamond Rio, which I recently found out from the countdown that the lead singer is from Kentucky.
I would say
idea.
that Diamond Rio's probably one of my favorite 90s country acts. All the harmonies, the B-bender Telecaster guitar. I mean, Marty Robbins he's a madman.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's some amazing music.
Alabama, Clint Black. I forgot how many number one hits Clint Black had. I'm like, this is all coming back to me.
I don't know who Clint Black is. It's okay. I listen to everything.
It's okay.
But I haven't fully went into like the 90s.
If you like Tyler and Treaty Oak and all that stuff, go listen to all this that he's talking about, and you'll hear all of that.
I like Johnny Cash and
Willie
Nelson and Waylon Jennings.
Sure.
But like Highwaymen, I like that. All good stuff.
But 80s and 90s country to me was
something.
It was the pinnacle of country music.
Yes.
And going back and listening to that is like bringing back so many memories.
Yeah, that's nostalgia 100%.
Yeah, I mean, as a teenager, that's all I listened to was country music, and so.
My very first concert was Garth Brooks, and he was swinging out over the.
Oh yeah, I've never seen videos
over
of that.
The crowd. Yeah, and a super inebriated woman fell on me, and I've never seen my mama so mad. She was fired up at that woman, but. People, I mean, we were in, huge arenas.
Yeah.
He was filling up these stadiums.
Oh yeah,
and swinging out over the crowd, and gosh,
I was always, because my brother was a big Alabama fan.
Yeah.
I became a big Alabama fan. Alabama was a southern rock style country.
Yeah, they were just over the line in Fort Payne.
Yeah,
you're not very far from. You're 2 hours from where they're.
Loved Alabama. I was always a Shenandoah fan.
We were listening to 2 Dozen Roses the other night. Come on, you got to get in on this. I know that song. Oh,
I know that song.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you said Shenandoah. It reminds me. There's a small band I found out of Virginia called Low Water Bridge Band.
Yeah.
You should check them out.
I will.
Good stuff.
The thing about the music culture right now is there's so many bands that are independent. Muscadine Bloodline's independent.
Yeah.
They don't even have a record deal. There's so many bands that are independent that have made their rise on social media.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's been incredible. Yeah, I love a bunch of different types of music.
Yeah.
Especially if it's guitar driven.
Yes.
But
guitar is big for me.
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen, Jimmy Page.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big Van Halen fan.
Yeah. But did you ever get into like Anthony Green or Seosin or Circa Survive? Did you ever get into any of those bands? Yeah.
No,
those would be when you were younger.
Okay.
But,
he can introduce you to all kinds of people.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, guys, that is the latest edition of What's on Zach's playlist.
Yeah, my playlist
and Robbie's today.
Yeah, and mine and yours.
And
yours.
We got
mine's kind of lame, but it was cool.
No, it wasn't lame at all. I'm telling you, Shenandoah. I love them so much.
We don't usually get his take very often. but it's because he doesn't listen to a ton of music.
Yeah.
But
I used to listen to a lot of music, but I've kind of gotten away and listened to more podcasts.
Yeah.
I've tried to get him into metal, okay, but the problem is I kind of threw him in on the deep end. So on Christmas,
you gotta ease a man in when it comes to that.
So on
you
Christmas,
gotta give him the softest version.
There's this Christian band called what are they called? It's not With Blood Comes Cleansing of the Temple.
Yeah, I don't know them.
Yeah, well, they're very small, very, very small Christian like metal band. Like this kind of stuff they do is like those tiny venues, but I mean you might see like 60 to 100 people in them.
Yeah, is it like August Burns Red type metal? Like
no,
really...
death metal.
Oh, okay.
Like Lorna Shore, Chelsea Grin,
yes,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I never got into that. I can see why.
I'm into that. Like,
I love it. I think that's cool.
Like August Burns Red, I can listen to a little bit of that.
Look, metal for him is Skillet. That's as far as he goes. I
love that.
But
which I love Skillet.
Skillet's good. But
John Cooper's great.
They anyway, they released a version of Mary Did You Know on Christmas. Yeah. So I sent it to my family group chat, and Dad's like, "This is awful. How is this even
ruined the song?"
Yeah. And he goes, "You can't even understand what they're saying." I was like, "Yeah, you can. They're saying Mary Did You Know."
You know the song.
Yeah.
It was like, Mary Did You Know.
It was guttural. And Dad's like, "I don't even take talent." And I was like, "Yes, it does."
I love that.
Try to do that with your voice and come back to me.
Yeah, right.
But
I'm sure it did take talent to do the voice, but it was the drum beat. I was like, a kindergartner could have done that.
Oh my goodness! It's because it's got the double kick drum, real fast. But anyway, I've told him we're gonna put him on a pipeline. We're gonna introduce him to. He likes Flyleaf already, so Flyleaf is like a little introduction to heavy, which I've been really into them too. For sure. Another on my playlist. Yeah. But I said we need to get him into Norma Jean. You ever listen to Norma Jean?
Yeah, they're from right here.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely. What, Douglasville, just right down the road. Dude, Norma Jean's incredible.
Norma Jean's awesome. But I'm trying to get him on the pipeline.
Did you ever listen to the original lead singer's second band, or not second band, but other band? I think he had the Chariot, and then he had a band called 68, and it's just him playing guitar, singing, and a drummer.
Really?
And it's incredible.
It's the lead singer of Norma Jean, or the old lead singer?
The old lead singer, like the one who founded Norma Jean. Yeah, I cannot remember his name right now.
Well,
anyway, you might want to call this
because
we're going to rabbit hole.
We will keep going. We're going to rabbit hole. We will start our own podcast by the time we're done.
We just started a new music podcast right in the middle of this podcast.
Oh, man.
Okay, so one of the things that I love about what you do is your driveway finds.
Yes.
And I think that is, that's probably what I watch the most.
Yeah.
All right.
Those are my favorite to produce.
Yeah, and it's just so cool learning about everybody's trucks, which leads me to ask you this. UBT isn't just about Chevy and GMC.
No.
You've recently had some Fords lately.
Yeah, and I'm trying to have more. I actually, one of my favorite trucks is the Unibody F100.
Yeah.
And I owned a great example of one, and in a time where I needed to come up with a little cash, I let it go, and I shouldn't have. Thankfully, it went to a great guy, Tim Wallace, who was just sat in that chair recently, who was a local guy and a guy with a great YouTube channel. But I had an F100 that I was going to build on the channel. Black patina unibody, I think it's 61. So it'd been first, I think that's first year.
Yeah, I think it is.
But I am really trying to, I don't normally care what everybody says about me just being a GM guy. But it's really one of those things where I'm like, I love classic trucks.
Right.
Like that's what this is about.
Well, you mentioned the Swept-Line earlier too.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd love to
have Swept-Line.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I love classic trucks, and I love a good story.
Right.
And so if I feel like you got a good story, you can talk to a camera or talk into a microphone. That's the one part about doing this at that level is you got to have somebody that can communicate.
Right.
When there are bumps on a log, it becomes a little harder.
Yeah.
But I love all the different types of trucks. Right. I've even got a guy on my list in the office that has a D100 that he lives up in Buford, and I want him to come down here and let's do a what's in my driveway. Awesome. It'd be great.
Well, I know we had discussed it back at C10 Fall Revival, but with the weather and stuff,
that's not happening today.
We
are literally having what I would call a snowstorm out this door right here in Georgia.
And the wind is horrible.
I mean, it's terrible. Like blowing snow everywhere.
When I took my phone call out there earlier, it was just smacking the garage door, and I was like, man, this thing gonna fall down on me.
No, but it is. We're having a real storm. For sure.
Yeah.
But we will do that though. You bring that truck down here, and we'll
get
do
together
it in my driveway. It'd be fun.
We'll get it down here.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Oh.
And a lot of what I'm like with this podcast, doing it in person, controlled environment. And even if I go do it on location, I'm taking all this equipment. I'm still controlling how it all sounds.
Right.
And for as much as I like spontaneity and organic content, I've come to realize when you're trying to do really high quality feature content like we do on the podcast or like we do in that What's in My Driveway series, you got to control as much as you can.
Yeah, you got to have a plan.
You do.
And so I've really come to love filming those because we have a bit of a formula, which I know that's a kind of a taboo word in an organic world, or wanting to have organic content. But we have a formula about how we produce those videos and that series. And I've really loved where they've come, and the response has been amazing lately. Like we've had some, 100,000 plus view videos recently with those, and that makes me feel really good. I mean, when you're getting that kind of response.
Just like we were talking about earlier, I feel like you can have that, like you said, the formula, but also have natural conversation, and that's what makes it. It keeps it organic.
Yeah, and then you mix it with fun garage content or road trip content where you can't control anything.
Yeah.
You just turn the camera on and hope it all comes out the way you want it to.
Those are fun, though.
It's super fun. So I think having a nice balance of feature content and just fun, build and road trip content is great.
Right. All right. So Robert, we're going to jump back and we're going to look at our verse that we started the podcast with.
Yes.
So the verse was
for you.
Proverbs 16:3.
Yep. Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established.
Yeah.
So a little bit later in that same chapter there, verse 9 tells us that he will establish our steps.
Yeah.
And I know with our podcast and what we're doing, it's new, it's fresh to us. We feel led going the direction we're going. We're allowing God to establish those steps, right? We pray about everything we do, all the decisions we make. But with a growing company, and it has grown from, very small to what it is now. It's been very successful. How does your faith played a role in the growth of UBT and in your daily life with your family?
I think it is something it boils down to a very simple concept of treating people the way I want to be treated and being an example to people who watch my channel, people who interact with our business. I feel like that Jesus led by example, and that is something that I have just always picked up through going to church and being around my family members who are strong in their faith, and they've just consistently led by example. And I try to do that in my daily life, whether it's interactions with my family, which is, as we all know, we fall short,
right,
especially when it comes to a marital relationship. But it's something that I try so hard to just be an example to, especially a young person who's trying to get into this hobby, and letting them know that you don't have to cuss. You don't have to. We've had, some drinking on the channel and stuff like that. I don't even drink anymore, but it is one of those things. We want it to be just a really great place where I may not be talking about God, or I may not even be talking about my faith, but you can tell that I'm a good guy. I believe I'm a good guy. I believe I'm a good guy because of my faith and because of my strong familial relationship. But I also interact with so many people who don't believe that way. Yeah. And so I've just sort of decided that I'm just going to lead by example and treat people fairly and nicely. And, if they are interested in knowing more about God or knowing more about Jesus and knowing more about how to strengthen their faith, I'm a safe place to talk to somebody about that.
Exactly.
And if not, I still feel good about how I'm interacting with folks because of my faith.
Well, I mean, there's a quote, and I can't remember the full quote, but I feel like what you do here embodies it, and that is doing, not having faith attached to what you do, like necessarily, but you do what you do to the best of your ability. And I feel like that glorifies God in that, because you were doing everything possible. I mean, just look how good the equipment is here, how much you are into making sure everything looks perfect, sounds
Yep.
perfect, everything is done the exact way it needs to come out. And I feel like that glorifies God because you're
100%.
doing something that I feel like He blessed you with,
Yep.
and you're doing it to the best possible,
Yep.
your best possible ability.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah,
that
you're
is
using the gifts that God gave
Yeah.
you.
for sure.
Well, because it's a gift to be able to, do what you do here.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody can do this. The creativity
Everybody has
that
the
comes,
eye for it.
Yeah, the creativity that comes behind it.
Well, and
You know.
I do take hits quite a bit because I'm not a fab guy.
Yeah.
Because I don't sit here and build by myself. I don't do all these, I don't do that, the certain portion of automotive content that a lot of guys are really good at and make YouTube videos. I get compared to those folks quite often. And I don't do that. My real skill is in the media side and is in the vision side and is in being able to communicate a message, being able to be comfortable on camera, being comfortable on microphone. And I feel like I am trying to do that to the best of my ability, not only to honor God, but to honor our time and effort and input that we put into this.
Yeah.
I want this to be the best it can be, the best I can come up with, and I have learned so much by doing this. I never even held a camera when I started my YouTube channel. Those first 3 videos on my channel are videos that were on my iPhone that I just took for myself from the build 4 months earlier.
Yeah.
Never intended to see the light of day. I'd never edited anything. I didn't even know anything about any of this. And it's been by just being blessed, being obedient to the best of my ability when it comes to that kind of thing. And I have faltered. I have struggled with my faith. I have partied. I have done a lot of different things that I don't care to really talk about in public that I feel a lot of shame for, especially early in my life, like when I was your age and younger. But I still was strong in my faith. I just was lost in direction a lot of times. I never spent any time in jail or anything like that, but I probably should have.
Right.
Yeah.
I got lucky and for some reason had some favor. God had some favor for me to learn those lessons by not getting in, formal trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was troubled and doing some things I shouldn't have been doing. And I do look at that as a blessing. Like he was steering me in a direction out of all of that, out of not having some of the public embarrassment piece of it, but still learning from the experience.
Right.
And like I said, I don't want to sit here and pretend that I'm a perfect human or that, I go to church every Sunday even. I mean, we try so hard to make it to church every Sunday, or at least a couple times a month. But I grew up going every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night. Yeah. We did all VBSs, and our children go to VBS. And like we have a very strong family unit here. Well, Sarah's side of the family, my side of the family, all our family goes to church. And I've had some really great, strong examples of faith my entire life. My wife is very strong in her faith, and it is it's something that is a major part of my life.
Well, I think going back to those times when you wonder,
oh man,
you realize how much you need God.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think we go through those phases in our life, because we all do, every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because He is showing us how we need to depend on Him. And He's brought you into a point where He has blessed you so much with what you have here. And this is a family business. And
Absolutely.
That's what I love about watching what you guys do. That's what I love about when you guys are on the podcast together, what that brings out, it shows the family unit. Family unit. I mean, you post pictures all the time at being at shows, and your daughter's right there with you guys. I've seen pictures of her packing orders.
She loves it.
Just whatever. It's a family thing. And as men, God has given us this great task of raising a family and bringing them up in the way that He would want us
That's
to.
right.
And
I do believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I see that right here. I see that right here. And so I just think that the whole family aspect of your business is awesome.
Yeah,
and that's what we're trying to do with Faith Family
I can
Cars.
see that too. Yes.
Keep it family oriented.
Yep.
And, guys like me who, again, grew up in church, grew up doing the VBS, I was a youth leader for a few years, and a song leader for a few years and different things.
Preached for a little while.
Yeah. And
I led worship for 6 years at our church.
Yeah. And doing all those things, just because you do all those things don't mean you're a perfect person.
No,
you're struggling, you're having your ups and downs.
That's right.
You're going through things just like everybody else.
Just like we talked about in our podcast with you, it's about the vulnerability.
Absolutely.
Of, like we all fail. We all fall short. But Paul tells us to die daily. Yeah. And, we have that gift. Through Christ, we have that gift to be able to die daily, die to the flesh daily, ask for forgiveness, and go along. Because once you ask for forgiveness, your sins are white as snow.
That's right.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Washed by the blood.
And thankfully so.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully
God.
so. Thank God.
And if we started to sackify lambs, man,
right.
we'd be in rough shape.
Thank God.
We'd be in rough shape.
Well, we are nothing without him. And the verse 3, committing yourself to the work of the Lord.
Yeah.
And allowing him to guide your plans, lead your steps. That's what's important no matter what kind of work you're doing.
Yep.
Whether you're a welder, whether you're in the concrete industry like me, or whether you're doing videography and media stuff, everything you do, there should always be prayer. Yep. And there should be a commitment to doing your best because this is the gift God gave you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I just want to encourage all of our listeners to think about that when you're working.
Yeah.
Think about that even if you hate your job with a passion and you're just like, man, I've got this other gift. Well, pursue that gift, but do your very best at what God's given you in this time, in where you're at right now. That would be what I would.
We talk about it all the time whenever we go to buy cars, that we pray about it. But I mean, just something as simple as that. I feel like bringing God into your hobby, it will help you more than you think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, anytime we do these podcasts, me and him pray together. Whether it's before or at some point, we pray together for the podcast, for what we do. Bringing God into your hobby, bringing God into your daily life is
it's key.
Yes.
Well, and prime example for me is, with all this media stuff, I didn't even know I had this skill. I started my YouTube channel when I was 35.
Yeah.
I'm 42 now. I've started a whole new life.
Right.
I thought I was going to stay in corporate world and corporate sales and do all these things. And God opened this one little door just to say, you might like this. You might like this videography thing. Yeah. And it has changed my whole life.
Look what it's done.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible.
It is
awesome.
It is really incredible.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
For a while, but
we took up a long time with the music thing right here.
I loved it.
No, this has been a great conversation.
We pull that mic up close to your chin.
Sorry. We've got a little segment that we do with not all of our guests.
We try to remember to do it. We forget a lot.
Yeah,
that's all
but
good. I know
we
that
do it
feeling
with some of our guests just because it lightens things. It makes things fun.
Yeah.
All right. So Zach, why don't you introduce our next segment?
Right. So we have a new segment called Gone in 60 Seconds.
It's
not new. Okay, whatever. When we do it, when we remember. Okay. It's called Gone in 60 Seconds, like the movie.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So now we don't actually have a timer. We never actually have a timer, but...
we got one behind you if we need it.
Whoa, we can make this legit.
That's okay.
We give you 60 seconds.
Sarah will keep time.
We give you 60 seconds. We have 6 questions.
Okay.
No explaining yourself.
Yes, I love this.
You answer the question. And that's it.
I actually tried this on my own podcast yesterday, and there was so much elaboration. There was no I want to do the shotgun thing.
Yeah.
Give me
rapid fire. You tell me what you got.
I've got a bit of a migraine. Let's see if I can think about this right.
Well,
we got some hard-hitting questions. No, just playing. We do not have hard-hitting questions.
These are fun questions just to get people to know you a little
bit.
Yeah,
just random little stuff, which I think we hit.
Ready.
We actually hit a lot of this stuff already.
We really did.
Let's do it.
Still.
We'll bring it back around.
Yeah.
All right. So the invisible timer starts now.
Go.
You're first, dude.
Oh, I am first. Yeah. Okay. Favorite band?
Ooh, I would say probably Leonard Skinner.
Cool.
Okay. Favorite guitar?
Ooh, ES335, Gibson.
Favorite non-GM truck?
Unibody F100.
LS or old school small block?
Old school small block.
Favorite car movie?
Oh, man. Gone in 60 Seconds, probably. I don't really have a great example of that.
We'll talk about that after.
I would say Fast and Furious, something along those lines, Gone in 60 Seconds.
I almost made that question, Smokey and the Bandit or Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, I could have Smokey and the Bandit, but I'm going to say Gone in 60 Seconds or Fast and the Furious, somewhere in that.
I have an opinion about that after. We'll get to it.
Well, the final question, this is a big one.
Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, Coca-Cola all day.
That question was for you.
Coca-Cola, yeah. Coca-Cola all day.
Oh,
that way I get to stay in my family.
Right, exactly right. The last podcast, y'all were talking about it, and I was like, hey, I'm putting that in there.
I love that. See? Look at the influence.
We are Diet Coke fans ourselves, we love Diet Coke, and his wife is just like a diehard McDonald's Diet Coke person.
Oh,
so.
It has to be out of the fountain. So she has at her work, they're kind of hip, I guess you'd say. I don't know. But they have little placards that go on their desk, and she works in an office.
Yeah.
And hers says Angel on it, and then it says, what does it say, Diet Coke fanatic or something under it? Something like that. Like,
so
like
Diet
Coke
like
obsessed.
A little
a little personal quip under it.
Yeah,
hers says
cool.
Diet Coke obsessed or something. But
I grew up around Diet Coke, caffeine-free Diet Coke, Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, now I'm type
now
1
we drink
diabetic.
Mexican Cokes, which has the real sugar in it.
Right.
Oh, so good. So good.
Diet Coke's all I can have now because I'm, being diabetic. It's like, but Diet Coke's great. It's what I grew up on too.
Yeah.
So I'm fine
Good
with
stuff.
It. Well, Gone in 60 Seconds. I got a bone to pick with you.
Why?
That movie sucks.
Goodness.
You think so?
Yes.
I really
don't like Nick
the car.
Cage's acting.
Well,
the car is great.
Yeah.
Nick Cage's acting is atrocious. And the first time I watched it, I was like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, it's Nick Cage, man.
I don't like Nick
I don't
Cage.
think it's that bad of a movie.
I don't think it's that bad of a movie, but also that's like the greatest part of Nick Cage is it's like it's a bit of a.
He just sucks.
This is kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know.
How did this guy get famous? Yeah.
Right.
See, I'm a Smokey and the Bandit fan.
Yeah.
But that's because
Smokey and the
he
Bandit.
had influence on me.
I can get behind that. I've actually been my laugh has been compared to Burt Reynolds, and so I actually went back and watched Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah. I'm not going to do the laugh now. It has to be organic.
Yeah, obviously.
You have to actually make it.
Well, I don't know if I've ever said it before on the podcast. I might have, but I watched Smokey and the Bandit when my wife, after she had given birth to him.
Yeah.
We were in the hospital.
So that's the first movie I ever watched.
Yeah,
I lay back holding him, watching Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's a great one for sure. I came up during Fast and Furious times.
Yeah,
and Gone in 60 Seconds
Fast.
was right around that time too, you know.
I'm a big Fast and Furious fan too, but honestly, only the first 3. Everything after the first 3
I don't even
sucked.
think I watched anything after the first.
I watched all the way up to Fast 9 or 8 or something like that, and they just started sucking really bad.
Paul Walker, big fan of Paul Walker.
Paul Walker's cool.
Know, miss him, rest in peace.
Yeah.
You know,
Paul Walker was cool.
but was just those movies changed my life.
Yeah,
like,
those movies had legit car guys.
I think it changed a lot of people's lives.
I think it did too. Yeah.
They really did.
I like I said, I like the aspect of legit car guys.
Yeah,
Paul Walker, legit car guy.
For sure.
Han from Tokyo Drift, he's a legit car guy. He builds cars. He's actually making a drifting movie right now. I don't know if you know who Adam LZ is.
Oh yeah, I know who Adam LZ is. Yeah,
he's in the movie.
Yeah,
he's in the movie.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Robbie,
is he the one that also has the podcast? He did something with Amelia Hartford, I believe. What's
is that Adam LZ? Or Han?
Yeah, I think that
maybe. I don't. I follow him on.
Longer hair.
Yeah,
I think that's him.
Really, I didn't know he had a.
They had a podcast. I don't know if they're still doing it, but they definitely did.
I follow him on it. I don't follow Amelia Hartford actually. Yeah. I know. I mean, I kind of keep up with what she does. Like when she did the C8 Corvette thing.
I mean, she has really blown up.
Oh, she has.
I mean,
for sure.
Like on the acting side, like I mean, she's a legit actress and
I didn't know that.
Has all the racing pedigree.
The first time I saw like anything about her was when she bought the C8 Corvette and they were trying to tune it as fast as they could before anything was out for the C8 Corvette.
Yeah.
I thought
she's
neat.
got a huge Nissan deal now. I mean, she's got all sorts of unique stuff.
I didn't know all that.
Yeah, she's like
she's legit now.
She's killing it, man. I mean, doing it the right way too.
You fell behind on that one.
I did.
I know. I got one up on you.
I know.
That was good.
I didn't keep up.
You didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't.
Well, Robbie, you got anything else you want to add?
I don't, man. This has been great.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. This is I've been interviewed. I've been on podcasts many times, but this has been a nice way to do this. I mean, we get to do it in person. I've done a lot of, call-in podcasts and the faith aspect. I don't get to share that, or I don't share that as much. And it's been fun kind of sharing that here.
Right. Nice.
So, thanks for having me.
We appreciate you letting us use your studio.
Yeah.
This is now our studio.
Yeah, come on down. This is UBT/FFC.
Yeah, there you go. We have now taken it over, so this is where the remainder of our podcast
Anytime
will be made.
you need a southern podcast studio and down here in the South, you come on down here.
Hey, we may have to hit you up for that.
Heck yeah.
I'll jump in on it with you.
Dude,
it'd be fun.
Awesome.
I love to invite myself.
We'd have you on again. I think we'll let you on again.
Yeah,
maybe.
I appreciate that. Maybe I've earned my spot.
Maybe. Well, maybe me and you will start our music podcast here.
See?
There we go.
I love it.
That's what we could do.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so guys, you know where to find us, but hop on over to faithfamilycars.com, and if you feel led to, donate for Bibles. That's going to be starting up in May. We're going to be putting out Bibles at all these shows.
Yep.
So guys, help us out with that. Help us out by buying some merch. Help us build this thing and get the word out.
We are low stock on hoodies and
Hats right now.
Yes.
Yeah, everything else is good though.
So get them while you can, because
So-
I don't think the hoodies are getting restocked.
No, they will not. Until next year.
Until next year,
Yep.
or the end of this year.
Yep. So Robbie, it's been awesome. Again, we appreciate you being on. Guys, we love y'all. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time.
Boom.
Good stuff, man.
Great stuff.
That's fun.